Okay, so here is a lemon coral sedum that I planted up last year with these kind of yard art. I did kind of a yard art video, and these are old embroidery hoops. And you can see it is very overgrown. Here is the pot. I don't know if you can see that down under there, but it's beautiful. But I have noticed that, you know, the stems are getting kind of yellow here. And so there's like this new growth trying to happen, and then these yellow stems. But then on the ends of these yellow stems is new growth again. So if you can see something like that. So my plan today is I am going to give this guy a major haircut. I am going to trim away a lot of this excess of the plant. That way it will, you know, kind of regenerate this part of the plant. And then my plan is to actually go ahead and propagate this. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm not sure if it'll work, but this is just a sedum. In fact, I don't even know if it's actually a lemon coral sedum. I think it's just a sedum. And I've had pretty good luck propagating other sorts of succulents, so I think that it will work just fine. So I'm going to get in here, trim this up, and then propagate it up into some soil. And hopefully I'll get some more plants out of this plant today. So I should say that I overwintered this plant in my greenhouse. So this plant would not have survived outdoors for me. This is very satisfying. So it did survive in my greenhouse though, which is a heated greenhouse. I'm in a zone 8. So I am just going to give this a very satisfying trim up. And I really want to try to get rid of some of this overgrowth. I'm also going to fertilize it, and with any luck I'll have nice new fresh growth here in a few weeks. And you can see on the top I feel like I already have some fresh growth, but I've been thinking about doing this for a while, so I'm kind of excited to just get in here and trim it up. So yeah, get rid of some of this extra and give it some fresh cuts and fresh areas to grow new areas of the plant. It's very satisfying. All right, that looks pretty good. A little shorter on this side here. And I'm just going to use a general fertilizer, or you could probably use a cactus style fertilizer. So check that out. Much better. This plant is going to be happier. It's going to be rejuvenated without having to support all of that old growth from last year. And as you can see, I have just a little bit here that I can work with to propagate. So I think my plan of action here is going to actually be to go get a soil like in a tray, and then that way I can just have a soil tray and then just pop these down in it. But before I do that, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of go through and you know, to kind of prepare for that, go through and just take the little tops off. I'm going to leave a little bit of the stem just so I can poke it down in the soil. So this might take a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and just kind of do this part. And I probably won't use like every single piece, because then I would be here for a year probably doing this, which might be okay, but I do have other things to do. I do have a couple areas in my yard though where I would really like to have some more of this plant this year. So I was pretty happy about how it overwintered for me. So you can see a lot of this is going to just be discarded anyway. Like that whole stem there, I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm just going to kind of keep the little tips. Maybe I'll just do it with my fingers. That might be a little faster actually. Okay. Okay, so it's been a minute, and you can see what I've done is, well, maybe you can't see, but what I've done is I've separated all of the tips, basically, like these newer little healthy bits of the plant from kind of the, you know, they call this when a plant gets stretched, kind of these stalks. Now, I probably could, you know, bury these stalks, and I bet you they would continue to grow. But I don't want them to look leggy like this. They also call that being leggy in the plant world. And, you know, they're kind of brown. And this is kind of what would happen in nature anyway, is that, you know, the plant would send out these little runners, and then all of these would be the little baby plants. So I'm just kind of helping nature along here. So I am going to just discard of this pile, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this as my potting up pile. So this is what I'm going to propagate. And I think what I'm going to do actually is use some 4-inch pots and go ahead and, you know, tuck down as many as I can in one pot. That will hopefully give me a nice full plant, because I do have some areas, and I'll show you those in a minute, that I want to use these sedums in. And it was a beautiful plant last year. And so I'm really excited to try to, you know, preserve some of this, save a little money by just propagating these. Also, I could dip these in some rooting hormone before I do that. I do have some rooting hormone, but I don't think I'm going to bother. I don't think I'm really going to need to do that, because these are in a succulent family and they're just, I think they're going to be fine. But what I'm really going to try to do is pack these little 4-inchers kind of full, and then just water them in, leave them in my greenhouse, maybe add a little fertilizer, and hopefully within a week or two, I will have, you know, some whole new plants that will be nice and full that I can use elsewhere in containers and stuff this year. So I will keep you updated on this process and let you know how it goes. Right now, I'm just going to kind of get one potted up so you can see what I mean. And I'm just using regular potting soil here. Grabbing that from behind me right now, but I think what I'll do is just kind of tap this down in, and then I did leave this like little tail here, so I am just going to carefully kind of push that down in. I might use a little tool to help me. I do have this like little dauber tool, so if I make a little hole, I think that'll work. Some of these are a bit long. I found it easier to just use my fingernails when I was separating them from the stems. I'm just going to keep going and just push these down in there. And like I said, I will keep you updated and let you know how this process goes, but I think it's going to work just fine. That's just my prediction. Like I said, I've never done it before, but I think for the intention that I have for it, it's going to be just fine. So one thing I will do though is if they still have some of these old spent, you know, the kind of these yellowing parts, I might just kind of remove those. So I'm just going to go through and pop the rest of these in and try to fill it as much as I can. And this is a trailing plant, so, you know, the fact that it was trailing over wasn't a bad thing, but I do think it's going to rejuvenate the mother plant to have all this gone. And hopefully I can get some more of these beautiful sedums. Oops, I kind of got too many there. Oops, oops, oops. Toothpick would be helpful. What would be helpful? Tweezers, something like that. But these do grow really fast as long as it heats up, which it's starting to in my greenhouse. It's been kind of rainy the last couple days, but that's it. I'm using damp soil, so I'm not going to water these in maybe right away. I'll just let them kind of hang out for a couple days, and then I might mist them actually. So I might even try to fit in more than that if I can. I'm not sure if all of them will root, but I bet a lot of them will, because that's kind of what this plant needed. You know, it needed a really good hair cut and refresh. So that is how to propagate some sedum. Hopefully that was helpful for you. And I do have a whole nother plant to do, so I'm just going to get busy. And like I said, I will update you on this process and let you know the results. Okay, so today I'm going to be working on repotting this little orange tree. And sorry about the dog barking. I took it out of its potting medium and it just does not look happy. So I soak the roots, and then I did a little research about how to repot a citrus. And what I'm gonna do is create sort of a mound in the middle. So I soaked those roots, and I'm gonna make a mound in the center. Now I'm also using a lot of compost because I'm really trying to get this plant to grow this summer. I'm also uppotting it quite a bit, but that's okay because it is more of a tree, so I can do that. So see how I mounded that up? And then I wanna just, you know, make sure to top the rest off, but that way those roots are going down and around the pot, and that will really work well for this. Now the other thing I got for this guy is some citrus tone. Let's see if I can get it in the camera. Citrus tone, there it is, okay. And so I'm gonna sprinkle some of that in here as well. And I was reading the directions. It says 1 cup, dig a hole twice as wide and the same depth as a root ball. Let's see, make a cone of soil in the center in the hole, and then backfill with amended soil. Roots are covered several inches and tamp gently. 1 cup of citrus tone is what it's suggesting. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this, okay? And I am going to go right around the roots. And then I'm going to fill in the rest. I would say that's probably about a cup, give or take. I want to make sure to have plenty. Now I'm going to kind of scoot that around a little bit. And now I'm going to fill this in some more. And with any luck, my citrus little tree here the leaves will start to green up again, because that's one of the big tells here that something's wrong. And I could tell by the roots that something was wrong. I've also harvested all the fruit to take that stress off the plant. And then I'll probably go in and see if it needs any trimming and any kind of pruning, just a little bit. And then hopefully with some nice warm weather, it will perk back up. So that is how I repot my citrus tree.